Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I'm here to talk about my goals. Every month I sit down and talk about my personal goal journey with you in hopes that it inspires, encourages, teaches you something to help you work on your goals. And I use the Cultivate Matters Power Sheets, which is the goal planner that has absolutely changed my life and really supported me in accomplishing a lot of goals that I am super proud of. And so every month I sit down and I share with you how last month went, what goals I accomplished, what goals I didn't, and all the goals I have set for the upcoming month. So let's jump into talking about March. If this is the first video that you're catching, or you don't follow me in any places where I talk about my personal life, which is really more on Instagram and then in some day in the life vlogs, I just got married in the month of March. And so that is what took up a lot of my month. And there are a lot of things on this list that did not get checked off because I was getting married. I was probably a little bit over ambitious in what I was going to get done in March, but I am also filming this video a little bit before the end of the month. It is only March 22nd. And so I still have 8 days really to check some of these things off. So I will let you know which one of these I might be getting to in the next 8 days and which ones I probably won't. So the first monthly action item, or first monthly goal really of mine, was to hit my monthly revenue goal. I've talked about this in a number of videos at this point. I have an annual goal, revenue goal for my business, which is now my full-time job, and therefore a quarterly goal and then a monthly goal as well. You can see here that as of March 22nd, I'm about halfway to my monthly revenue goal. I made a business decision that changed some things in March where I actually don't anticipate hitting my March revenue goal, but because I was above my revenue goal in January and February, I actually am still planning to hit the quarterly goal. Just kind of reshuffling some things around for the rest of the year. So the next goal on here was to finalize all the things related to group coaching, and I did, and that was one of the decisions I actually did make in March, which was to not actually proceed with group coaching. There's a lot of reasons, a lot of things went into making this decision and conversations behind the scenes, but it's all shaded in because I made the decision not to continue it. The next 3 monthly goals were all related to the Plan with Laken business, and that was to update my sales page, update my channel trailer, and the one-on-one onboarding automation. And if you watched my Q2 quarterly goals video that went up last week, I talked about why these things did not happen and why I'm actually not carrying them forwards. I've made a little bit of a decision to not be so specific with my business goals in my power sheets. I talked a lot more about this in that other video, so if you want more information, go check out that video. But I didn't do these in March. I actually don't plan to do them in the next 8 days. In fact, and you won't ever see them on my power sheets again, at least for Q2. In that quarterly goals video, I said I'm gonna try something new for Q2, and we'll see how it goes. The next monthly goals video was to finalize my personal birthday plans, which I am so excited about. As of the filming of this video, my birthday is in 3 days. It is March 25th, and I have not been able to celebrate or really have a birthday anything for the last 2 years with everything going on. And so I am just really excited to be able to do something fun with my friends that live here in New York City. And so I finalized all of those plans actually before we left for the wedding, because I knew I needed to let people know before we left so they could go ahead and put things in their calendar if they're able to make it. And then I also earlier this week kind of made a plan of what all I need to do this week leading up to that, and that let me shade the rest of it in. I still need to execute on the plan, but the action step was not execute, it was figure out plans. The next 2 monthly goals were both related to my birthday goal. The first one was to get through the March birthdays, which I did that, checked that off, and then the other one was to get through the April birthdays and get on top of that. I have not done that, and I have actually multiple April 1st birthdays, so I'm like, I have to get to this one. This one is one of the monthly goals that I am planning to get to in the next 8 days. And then the last 2 action items were to finalize some things related to our honeymoon. It was to book the hotels as well as the flights within Thailand for our honeymoon. Did not happen in the month of March. I said this in the quarterly goals video. I don't know how people plan a wedding and a honeymoon at the same time. That is going to be a big focus for Q2. Although, spoiler alert, it's not on April. We'll talk about that when we get to April. The next section is all of my weekly action items, and the only thing that I put here in March were my Plan with Laken weekly routines that I have started to implement. I really just wanted to make sure that I didn't let them go. Like, I didn't drop the ball in March and let those routines fall off. So I knew I wasn't gonna do them the week of the wedding, but I did them the week before and I did them the week after, and I will do them again this week and finish out March strong. Don't feel the need to carry these over into April because I feel like they are now routines. They have a time slot on my calendar that I do them every week. Most of the time it's Friday mornings. That's like my routine time to get these things done. If I am taking that Friday off, like I'm taking my birthday off, we have a wedding in a couple weeks, then I do them on Thursday afternoons, and it works out perfectly. And then the only daily action item that I put for March was to do my physical therapy. I have been in physical therapy since December when I fractured my foot. that's a whole nother story if you are new here. And I have not been doing a good job of doing my physical therapy exercises at home. I go every week when I have my appointment, but doing my at-home exercises I haven't been good about. So I finally added them into my power sheets. I started out strong when I went to Texas for the wedding. I went down a week before and I started out strong. I did it for the first handful of days I was down there, and then I fell off for about a week. And then once I got home, I kind of got back to it, and I'm continuing to do that. So I feel good about putting this into my power sheets to really help me focus on it, but definitely carrying that over to April to continue to work on it. So let's turn the page. Let's go to April. If you have not watched my quarterly goals video, I would recommend pausing here and going back and watching that, because knowing what I'm focusing on in Q2 will really help make some of these goal action steps more clear as to why they're here and what I'm trying to build up to. So let's start with the encouraging words. I like to, if I can, use my word of the year in the encouraging word section of my power sheets. Now in March I didn't do that. I had something marriage related, but for April I typed in my word of the year, which is grow, into my quotes app that I use on my phone. It's literally just called motivation, just that one word, and it is a app full of motivational quotes. So I typed in the word grow and this quote popped up, and it says, "The trees that are slow to grow bear the best fruit." And I just love that quote. I love the reminder. That's how I feel about my encouraging words, by the way, because my power sheets sit like this on my desk where I see them every single day. And I think of my encouraging words as a pep talk. It's a reminder. What am I gonna need to remember this month? What am I gonna need to tell myself when things get hard or when I don't check everything off? And I really felt like this quote was what I was gonna need this month, and that things are going to move slow, and that's okay. For some of my goals, like some of these steps are really small and they're not big, massive, needle moving things, but slow and steady wins the race. And then for my priority for April, I wrote taking care of my body. And I was gonna write dance. So if you don't know, I am part of a dance company, and our dance show is April 30th at the end of the month. And so what I wanted to remind myself of in April is to take care of my body so that I am in the best shape. And when I say shape, I don't mean like the best shape. It is physical, but I just mean like in the best way I can be ready to go for that show. And that means doing my physical therapy every single day. It means drinking my water, getting my sleep, doing those things that I need to do, even if it means sacrificing other things in the month of April, prioritizing my physical body to be ready to go for the show. So let's get into the action items. The first section is monthly action items, and as always so far this year, you have seen it, my first goal is always to hit my monthly revenue goal. I did mention in my quarterly goals video that you will not see any other specific Plan with Laken business related goals in my power sheets. I am trying something new for Q2, but I am gonna keep that one in there just to keep that in the forefront of my mind and give me something to shade in when I am making progress towards that goal. The next monthly action item is related to my friends and family goal, and that is to finalize plans for a specific event that I have in May. It's actually the event that Sam and I met at 6 years ago, but he is gonna be out of town the weekend of the event, and I still really wanna go, and so I need to figure out like what friends am I gonna go with, who wants to go, who's gonna be in town, all the things. And so my one monthly action item for April is to finalize the plans for that event in May. The next monthly action item is to do the May birthdays. So again, in my quarterly goals video, I talked about getting 1 month ahead on birthdays. This might be the month that actually slows me down. I have like 15 birthdays or something and 2 anniversaries in May. It's a lot of things going on in May. So I'm gonna do my best to do all of them in April, but I might not. We'll see. The next monthly action item might surprise you a little bit because it is related to our honeymoon goal, like to plan and enjoy our honeymoon. But the actual action step has nothing to do with our honeymoon. So I think one of the things that's been kind of blocking me or holding me off from doing things related to our honeymoon is we have another international trip before that we also don't have any plans for. So we are going to Ireland for one of my best friend's weddings, and we have the flights in and out of Ireland, and we have 2 nights at the hotel like for the wedding, like the night before the wedding and the night of the wedding. We're there for 10 days. We don't have any other hotels, any other plans, anything else booked. She has some other day planned stuff during the day, but we don't have any other hotels booked really is the key there. And we're planning to go to some other parts of the country. We haven't figured out where. So I might secretly get to that a little bit this weekend, which is technically still March, but I really feel like I want to focus on finalizing our Ireland plans in April, and then I really feel like we can then pivot and focus on our Thailand plans. The next 2 monthly action items are related to my quarterly goal of getting caught up on my doctor's appointments, and that is to schedule my annual and to schedule my physical. All I have on here is to schedule them. If I also execute them in April, depending on doctor availability, awesome. But if I don't get them scheduled till April 29th and then I don't execute till May, that's fine. The goal in April is just to get them scheduled. The next monthly action item is to read one nonfiction book. In my quarterly goals video, I talked about how I have 3 nonfiction books related to fertility and my cycle that I want to read in Q2 to help me progress towards our goal of starting a family. And so I'm gonna read 1 per month in the quarter. So my goal in April is to just finish 1. The next monthly action item is to listen to some of the no BS calls. And I put this in the monthly section because I didn't want to be super rigid about it. So again, in my quarterly goals video, I talked about how I'm reevaluating my membership of the No BS weight loss program. Nothing against the program. I'm just not sure that I need it anymore to support me on my journey. And so I want to make sure that I start taking advantage of some of the benefits to see if they're worth it for me. And I didn't want to commit to it for sure on a daily basis. I didn't want to commit to it even on a weekly basis. I just want to do something in April. And so I put it in my monthly section. In retrospect, maybe I should have been a little bit more specific about that to really help me decide how I'm gonna make a decision on whether this is a program I want to continue being a member of or not. But for now, that's where it is. The last 2 monthly action items are both related to the New York City bucket list goal. And the first one is to actually have a conversation with Sam about it. This was actually his idea. He brought it up saying that like, okay, we made this list. We should start like mapping out when we're gonna do them throughout the year. Now that the wedding's over, we have a lot of other things going on. We need to start like actually scheduling some of them out, even if it's tentative. And I was like, that is a great idea. We should absolutely do that. So one of my April goals is to sit down and have a conversation with him, go through our bucket list and kind of map out a general plan about them. And then the last one is just to execute one of them. We'll see. We don't have any of them scheduled for the month of April, so we'll see if one of them actually gets executed in April, especially because I have a lot of dance stuff going on next month. But hopefully I will get to at least 1 in April to help me towards my quarterly goal of doing 3. Moving on to the weekly action item. So I only have I have one in three lines. Weekly action item that I'm working on in April, and that is getting back to reading before bed. If you watch my goals video back in February, this is something that I did in February and I'm doing it again in April. And right now I would love to be the person that reads every night before bed. It's good for my brain, it's good for my sleep, it's good for my soul. I love reading fiction books at night. I think it just relaxes me a lot. But there are just, especially the nights I have dance, it's just really tough. I'm still a little bit wired and I can't focus on reading a book. And so I'm just much better watching like Netflix and letting myself zone out. So in February, I did just Tuesdays and Thursdays, just weeknights I don't have dance. And really Sunday, still a weeknight. So my goal in April is to do it 3 nights a week, to do it Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. But the reason I have it written on 3 different lines, right? I could write read before bed 3 nights a week on 1 line. But then if I only did it 2 nights, I wouldn't get any check marks and I wouldn't feel like I'm seeing the progress that I'm making even though I did 2 of the 3 nights. So I like having it separate so that I get check marks for each night that I do it. Plus I have the space. I'm not using it for any other weekly goals. Moving on to the daily goals. So my first daily goal is to read in my nonfiction book. I don't know that I'm gonna do this every single day. I don't really have a goal to do it every single day, but I have a goal, as I talked about, to finish 1 book over the course of the month. And the way that I kind of determined that mathematically is I need to read about 15 pages a day during the weekdays. So as part of my morning routine, I have it scheduled to read my nonfiction book. And so that is what I'm gonna be checking off so that when I do that, not only am I making progress on the monthly goal, but then I get a check mark for the daily section as well. All the other daily items are all related to my physical health, my lose weight goal. Some of them are things that you've seen before and I'm carrying them over, bringing them back. Let's talk about them. So the first one is to do my physical therapy exercises. I talked about that related to February. I'm carrying that, or not February, in March, and I'm carrying that over into April. The next one is water. I have not been good about drinking my water, and this happens. And I have talked about this in other places. I always get asked, how do you know when you're ready to take something off your power sheets? And there is no right answer. There's not like, I can't give you a number, like when you do it 73% of the time, then you can take the habit off your power sheets and you're ready to go. There's no right answer. And water has been one of those things that I have put on my power sheets. I've done a really good job. And then I'm like, good, I take it off. I'm good for another month or 2. And then I got to put it back on. And that's just how it happens sometimes. I am someone who is very motivated by a check mark. And so by having it as part of my power sheets somewhere that I check it off every day, I will get back to it. And then hopefully in May, I won't need it again, but it doesn't mean that I won't need it ever. It is very possible that there will be some day in the future that I will need to re-add it back into my power sheets, and that's okay. The next one is to close my Apple Watch rings. And I debated a long time whether I was gonna put like workout, even though I knew I wasn't gonna do that every day, whether I was gonna put like to move my body in some way. I debated a long time and I decided to go with my Apple Watch rings. I am not anticipating a perfect month. I don't expect me to get every single day. There's just no way. But I'm hoping that by having it on my power sheets, it will motivate me on those days that I could push myself to do a little bit more. In my quarterly goals video, I feel like I've referenced that video so many times at this point, I talked about how one of my quarterly goals is to really listen to my body. That might mean taking a complete rest day and not doing any sort of movement and therefore not closing my rings. That's totally fine. But if there is a day that I am listening to my body and I do have the energy to at least do something to help me close my Apple Watch rings, that's why I'm putting it in my power sheets. And then the last one is to fill out my health planner. I could have just written my No BS planner. That's part of the No BS program. That is the health planner that I use, and I want to get back into using it and trying it again. The reason that I just put using the planner and not doing the whole program is that there are places to track those aspects of the program in the planner. There's a habit tracker that's built in. And I felt like having it in both places, while some days really motivated me because then I was like, well, I get 2 check marks if I do it. Some days really unmotivated me and I wouldn't do something. And so then I wouldn't get the check mark on my power sheets. And then I wouldn't go into my planner and even do the other pieces of the planner because I knew I didn't do the plan part of it. And if you haven't been watching my prior videos, you're probably like, I don't know what you're talking about. There's a lot of components to that planner. I did flip through it in a vlog a long time ago. You can only buy the planner if you are a member of the membership, but that is what I'm gonna get back to in April, is just using the planner. Even if I don't do the other aspects of the program, if I check in with my planner and answer the questions that are part of it every day, then I get a check mark in my power sheets. So that's it. Those are all of my goals for April and all of the things that I am focusing on. You can see a lot of it is related to my physical health and just taking care of myself this month. But before we move on to April, I want to celebrate you and your accomplishments in March. What is the number one thing that you are proud of from the month of March? It doesn't have to be huge, it just needs to be important to you. What is the thing that you are most excited to share about from your goal progress in March? Let us know down in the comments so that we can celebrate together. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, please click that subscribe button. I upload new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday focused on helping you achieve your goals. Thank you so much for watching. There's a lot of, I talked a lot more in the other, and then the what's the word? Why can't I find this page? Lead up to. No, that doesn't make any sense. That sounded weird. The monthly action items, the first section is the